Okay, let's dive right into this. Today, in this explainer, we're focusing our lens on the profound psychology behind something millions of us do literally every single night, and that's our bedtime noise habits. On the surface, what seems like a simple preference for a little background noise is actually a fascinating gateway into understanding our nervous systems, our personal histories, and honestly, our deep-seated need for security. I mean, think about how many people you know who just cannot sleep in absolute silence. It's kind of become a cultural norm to have some auditory companion when the lights go out. But when we look at the psychological research behind this, we discover that it's not just some quirky modern habit. It's actually a beautifully complex story about how our brains try to keep us safe when we are at our most vulnerable.
So, do you need a fan, a TV show, or maybe a familiar podcast playing in the background just to drift off? It's an incredibly common nightly ritual, right? You settle into bed, fluff the pillows, turn off the lights, and boom, you immediately reach for the remote or your phone to fill the quiet, because the room just feels way too empty without it. We usually frame this as a totally relatable surface-level thing. We tell ourselves, oh, I just really like white noise, or it helps drown out the street traffic, or it just stops my mind from racing. We treat it like a minor preference, no different than picking a firm or a soft mattress. But psychology tells us that for a lot of people, this intense reliance on familiar sounds is masking something much deeper, operating entirely below our conscious radar.
If we peel back that first layer of habit, we encounter a concept known as survival sleep. And wow, this isn't just about preferring a gentle hum in the room. This is about utilizing background noise as a potential trauma response related to abandonment. What's actually happening biologically here is that these sounds actively trick the primitive parts of the brain into feeling accompanied. It essentially creates a highly effective auditory illusion that someone else is right there in the room with you, ensuring you aren't falling asleep alone and unprotected. It is a profound, subconscious coping mechanism designed to soothe a deep and very often unspoken fear. The brain is basically saying, hey, if I can hear voices or movement, someone is standing guard so I can finally lower my defenses. It's a literal survival tactic wrapped up in a cozy nighttime routine. There is a truly powerful idea at the heart of this behavior. Sometimes the sounds we think we need are simply echoes of the companionship we never had. Let that sink in for a second. That completely changes everything about how we view that bedside fan or that true crime podcast playing on a loop until 3 a.m. The noise is doing heavy lifting for the psyche. It's creating the illusion of a presence. And as our source material notes, this is a fear that might have lingered for years, just quietly operating in the background of a person's life, dictating how and even if they are able to truly rest. Once you understand that the noise is just a stand-in for safety, the bedroom transforms from a place to sleep into a space where the nervous system is desperately trying to regulate a lifelong feeling of emotional isolation. Now, there is a massive distinction we have to make here. The profound difference between the simple physical act of trying to fall asleep and your nervous system's deep biological need to feel safe enough to sleep. These are two completely different battles. When your nervous system is used to actively avoiding silence, you aren't just battling insomnia or a restless mind. Your body is quite literally stuck in survival mode. It's on high alert. You are constantly scanning the environment for a sense of safety that only comes from external noise. And that hypervigilance? Yeah, that's not a switch you can easily just flip off. The body views silence not as peace, but as a lack of data. And to a traumatized or highly anxious nervous system, a lack of data means danger could be anywhere. So you really aren't trying to rest, you're just trying to survive the quiet.
Operating constantly in that elevated survival mode, man, that takes a massive toll over time. When true, deep rest becomes elusive because you're constantly managing your environment to avoid silence, the results are really severe on both your mind and body. It leads directly to chronic emotional exhaustion, where you wake up feeling like you've been running a marathon all night. It creates this profound disconnection from your own inner peace, making it pretty much impossible to just exist without some kind of distraction. And perhaps the toughest part, it breeds an anxiety that feels absolutely ruthless and confusing. Think about it. When the quiet finally does come, say during a power outage or your speaker dies, instead of feeling relaxing, it instantly triggers a threat response. Your heart races, your mind spins, and the very thing that's supposed to rejuvenate you becomes a source of intense panic.
If any of this is resonating with you right now, it's incredibly important to know that healing this deeply ingrained pattern does not begin with criticizing yourself. It absolutely 100% does not start by forcefully unplugging your TV, throwing your noise machine in the trash, and making yourself suffer in the dark. Please don't do that. That will only spike your anxiety further. Healing begins purely and gently with awareness.
It's about recognizing the pattern for exactly what it is, a brilliant protective measure your brain adopted to keep you feeling safe when you felt vulnerable. Your brain was just doing its job. Acknowledging that reality without any harsh judgment or frustration is the absolute mandatory first step toward genuinely restful sleep. You really have to thank your nervous system for trying to protect you before you can start to teach it a new way to operate.
Building that vital awareness means getting profoundly curious about your own internal landscape. It means pausing and asking yourself, what does silence actually remind me of? And when did I first learn to associate being alone with being unsafe? I want you to really consider those questions. Maybe even journal about them during the day when you aren't actively trying to fall asleep. The avoidance of silence didn't just appear out of nowhere, right? It was a learned response to your environment, your childhood, or past relationships. Maybe silence meant you were being ignored, or maybe it meant something bad was about to happen. Guiding yourself through this gentle introspection helps uncover the exact root of why your nervous system currently treats a quiet, peaceful bedroom as a threat rather than the restorative sanctuary it really should be.
So once you have that compassionate awareness, you can actually begin retraining your body. And the absolute key here, actually scratch that, it's the whole secret to making this work, is focusing on small, gradual, actionable steps. You do not dive into the deep end. Start by building awareness, exploring those feelings, and then simply tolerating the quiet for just 1 minute, not an entire night, not even an hour, just 60 seconds. Lie there, notice the discomfort, breathe through it, and let the minute pass. You are gently, systematically teaching your nervous system that it can endure the quiet without the world falling apart. From there, you gradually increase that time. Maybe tomorrow it's 2 minutes, maybe next week it's 5. You don't rush it. You give your body the grace and the time it desperately needs to adapt to a brand new baseline of safety.
There is such a profound reassurance to be found here. Silence is not the enemy. It just hasn't felt safe yet. Just let those words wash over you. The quiet of your bedroom is not inherently dangerous. The absolute absence of noise isn't hiding some monster under the bed, and it isn't out to get you. It is simply a state of being that your physical body hasn't adapted to trusting yet. It's just unfamiliar territory. By taking those incredibly gradual, measured steps we just talked about, like that 1 minute of quiet, you are slowly introducing your brain to a beautifully new reality. A reality where silence equals peace, restoration, and calm, rather than abandonment or danger. You're basically bridging the gap between an old fear and a new, tranquil present.
And you might be wondering, why does this all matter? Why go through the uncomfortable effort of digging into your past and consciously retraining your nervous system night after night? Because you deserve rest that doesn't rely on noise to feel secure. You truly deserve to experience genuine, peaceful sleep that comes from a deep internal sense of safety, rather than a manufactured illusion of companionship from a glowing screen, a spinning fan, or a speaker right next to your pillow. Think about the freedom of being able to travel anywhere, sleep in any room, and just know that your sense of safety travels with you, inside you. At the end of the day, true inner peace shouldn't require a power outlet or a Wi-Fi connection.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. Now that you understand the fascinating psychology of survival sleep, the underlying trauma response of avoiding silence, and the specific, gradual steps required to retrain your nervous system to embrace the quiet, I have a simple challenge for you. Will you try just 1 minute of silence tonight? Just 60 seconds of quiet before you turn on the fan, pull up that TV show, or hit play on the podcast. Just 1 minute to begin actively teaching your body that it's perfectly safe to be alone in the dark. It is a remarkably small step, but it might just be the beautiful beginning of a completely new, restorative way to rest.